Hello, my name is Amanda Nybert, and I'm a registered dietitian here today with Laura's Lean to help you simplify getting healthy, gluten-free meals on your family table every single night. Welcome to Meal Planning and Meal Prep Simplified. Just like you, I'm a busy working mom of two, and I recognize how challenging it can be to get healthy, gluten-free meals on your table every single night. So today, I want to share with you 4 simple strategies that you can implement to simplify the meal planning process and make weekly meal prep a lot more effortless. So let's get started. Step number 1, I want you to create a master meal list. What does that mean? Have you ever sat down on a Sunday night and tried to do a little bit of meal planning and was trying to think of all the foods that you cook? Sometimes that's the hardest part. So having a list of all the meals that you know your family loves, that they're not going to gripe about, and that you know you can get together relatively quickly, gives you a starting point. We've actually included in our PDF files a master meal list that you can use to get started. I'm going to give you some examples of some of the ones that we use in our household. So again, we're gonna simply just list out all the meals that you know you love and your family will eat. For us, it's orange chicken, Asian lettuce wraps, meatloaf, Alfredo, tacos, breakfast for dinner, quiche, beef stroganoff, egg roll in a bowl, Hawaiian chicken, barbecue stuffed sweet potatoes. Every week I can sit down and I can look at this list and I can pull a couple of recipes, a couple of meal ideas straight from this list, making that kind of meal planning process so much easier. So number 1, start with a master meal list. Number 2, define your core 4. I don't know about you guys, but growing up, my mom cooked about 5 different meals and I don't remember ever complaining. She just rotated through the same meals over and over. And it actually created a lot of consistency and took a lot of the pain out of dinner time because we kind of knew what to expect and there wasn't a lot of surprises. And I think creating this kind of core 4 is a really great way to simplify getting healthy meals on the table. So what I want you to do is I want you to take your master meal list and I want you to look through all the meals that you listed. And I want you to pick out the 4 that are the easiest to prep and the ones you know your family loves the most. And make those your core 4. What that means is that each week you're going to utilize at least 1, 2, 3, and maybe even all 4 of those recipes. Creating that type of consistency, again, allows your family to know what's coming, and it also helps make meal prep and healthy eating so much easier. Let me share with you my core 4, and I'm going to show you a couple of ways that I like to tweak them to create variety so we're not necessarily eating the same thing over and over and over. So my first core 4 is tacos. Tacos are such an easy thing to get on the table, but maybe one night we do tacos and maybe the next week we do beef burritos. And then the following week we do quesadillas. So it's just a little spin on that kind of taco dinner that will create variety, but also consistency and make it easy to get that meal on the table. Number 2 is Brenner, breakfast for dinner. This is such a fan favorite and definitely another meal that you can create a lot of variety with between omelets and frittatas, breakfast meats, even pancakes, French toast, to give you that variety that you can kind of lean on over and over. Number 3 is pasta. We always do pasta, mainly with a meaty marinara sauce. And again, that's something that I can prep. I can prep my tacos, I can prep my pasta meat. I'm actually gonna demo a lot of that further down in the video, and have that stuff ready to go, making it really simple to get healthy foods on the table. And then the last one is stir fry. And there's so many different variations that you can do with stir fry. Some days we do beef and broccoli, some days we do chicken stir fry, some days we do rice, we do cauli rice, lots of variety there. So tip number 2 is I want you to define your core 4 and utilize at least 1 or 2, maybe 3 or 4 of those recipes every single week. Number 3, try something new. You have your master meal list. You have your core four. Now, consider trying a new recipe once a week. Maybe it's a testing Tuesday, where you find a new gluten-free recipe that you want to test out and see if it's going to be a family favorite. When you feel the need to try new recipes over and over, it can feel overwhelming because anytime that you cook something new, it's going to be hit or miss. Your family's either going to love it or they're going to hate it. And if everybody knows that maybe Tuesday night is the testing night where we try something new, they might go into that night with a more open mind. And here's what you do. Test a recipe out, and if it's a hit, add it to your master meal list. Because I know for me, a lot of times I try out new recipes and my family loves it, and then I kind of forget about it because it's not something that I am typically cooking or used to using. And so when you have your master meal list, it's something that you can add to it, and then every couple of weeks, you can grab it and try it again. If you test it out and it's a big flop, no fail, no harm, never make it again. So tip number 3 is consider trying one new recipe a week. And if it works, add it to your master meal list. If it doesn't, never eat it again. And last but not least, number 4, do some weekly meal prep. I'm actually going to spend a lot of time on this today because let's just face it, eating healthy, it takes time and it takes effort. But if you learn to do some simple meal prep each week, it's gonna make getting those healthy recipes on your family table so much easier. So spending maybe just an hour in the kitchen every Sunday, Monday, whatever day works best for you, and prepping maybe 2 or 3 meals, or even just portions of those meals that you can come home, throw together in a flash, is just gonna simplify your goals to eating healthy. So let's get into some simple meal prep and let me show you how to make it easy. All right, let's dig into tip number 4, do some weekly meal prep. Today, I'm gonna show you how easy it is to prep 3 simple, gluten-free, family-friendly recipes in under 30 minutes. I'm gonna be using Laura's Lean ground beef because let's face it, Laura's Lean has been bringing families together around the dinner table for the past 35 years. There's a reason why they're the #1 selling natural beef brand in the United States. Not only is their product gluten-free, but it's also low in fat, low in cholesterol, and is available in over 12,000 grocery stores nationwide. If you can't find it locally, you can find it on their website and they'll ship it directly to you. All right, let's get started with this meal prep. I started out by using 3 pounds of Laura's Lean ground beef, and I'm using the 96%, but it also comes in 85 and 92. But I love the 96% because it's such a lean product. You don't even have to drain any excess grease out of there. Now, as I'm going through this meal prep, I want to share with you some of my favorite kitchen items that are going to make your meal prep so much easier. Number 1 is this meat chopper. I absolutely love this when I'm using ground beef. It's such an inexpensive tool and it makes chopping up the ground beef so simple. So grab one of these to make your meal prep even more simple. Love that meat chopper. Now, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take about 1/3 of this mixture and I'm actually going to portion it out into a storage container, a dish that you can put in the refrigerator. This is going to make my meaty marinara sauce for our pasta night. All I'm gonna do, because I haven't pre-seasoned any of this beef, I'm gonna season it with each different recipe, but all I'm gonna do is add a little Italian seasoning to this mixture, about 2 tablespoons. You can also add diced mushrooms, you could add sauteed onions, anything like that. And this is gonna come together very quickly one night this week. All I'm gonna do is pull out my ground beef. I'm gonna grab a jar of marinara sauce. I'm gonna boil a pot of water and cook some pasta, and I've got a meal really quick and easy. Here's a really fun tip to amp up the health factor of pasta night without forcing your kids to eat broccoli. I love to take foods like spinach and carrots, even mushrooms and onions, and throw your sauce in a blender. Throw all the veggies in there, blend it up. Your kids will never know the difference, but there'll be a little bit of added fiber, vitamins, and minerals from those extra vegetables. Otherwise, just serve your pasta with a side salad or some steamed veggies. And there's meal number one. So I'm just gonna take my ground beef that I'm gonna use for my pasta night, and I'm gonna set it to the side. Now, let's work on meal number two. I'm gonna be making taco meat, but I'm gonna spice it up a little bit to make it a little bit unique. So I'm gonna start with, again, another pound portion, so another third of this taco meat, and I'm just gonna stick it in this bowl. All of this is already cooked up, so easy to go. It's gonna make reheating super simple, super simple. So I'm gonna add a pound of ground beef. All of these recipes can be doubled. They're all gluten-free, which is important. Most of these recipes can even be frozen. So if you wanted to double the recipe and stick half of it in the freezer, again, you're gonna cut your meal prep in half. So I'm just gonna take my simple taco meat and I'm gonna add a cup of corn. I'm gonna add a cup of black beans. And I'm gonna add 1 can of diced tomatoes with chilies in them. Now, if you don't like things really spicy, you can just get a small can of diced tomatoes. They also come in mild, so we're just gonna mix it up. The last thing I'm gonna do is just add some simple taco seasoning, about a tablespoon or 2, really kind of to taste. And this is gonna be just such a yummy, quick and easy taco meat that you can kind of cook up. Now, with this taco meat, I use it to make quesadillas. I use it obviously to make burritos. You can, wrap it up in a flour tortilla, or you can stuff it in a corn shell. And if your kids don't like beans or they don't like corn, you can omit that. Simply adding the tomatoes will give the beef just a little bit of moisture so it stays nice and juicy when you cook it up. So super simple, okay? Right there, you've got your taco meat ready to go. This is gonna be a really high protein, high fiber dish. Protein is such a valuable macronutrient that a lot of people are not eating enough of. So whenever I'm kind of thinking about my meal prep, protein is always the first thing I think about, and then I build my meal around the protein. So Taco Tuesday might not be testing Tuesday, it might be Taco Tuesday for this week. So I'm just gonna stick this into, again, another container, and this will be ready to store in the refrigerator. These dishes will stay fresh in your refrigerator for about 4 days. And then even if I choose not to use it, like let's say something comes up and I don't have time to use it, I can pop it in a freezer safe baggie and I can freeze it up. So, that smells so good. So many things that you can do with this little ground beef taco concoction. So there is meal number 2. Now, I want to share with you really quick because remember, we only used a cup of corn and a cup of those black beans. So there's actually some left over. So I want to show you a really quick kind of side salad or kind of pico dish that you can make to serve with your taco night. So I've got just the rest of my corn, the rest of my black beans in here. And all I'm going to do is dice up some red onion. I've got some avocado, some lime, cilantro, and a little bit of olive oil. And this is such a delicious side that you can incorporate. So again, this is another kind of like benefit of meal prepping. You're gonna notice that a lot of the recipes that I use incorporate similar ingredients. So I'm gonna use the red onion in this little salad. I'm also gonna use the red onion in my stuffed peppers, the corn, the beans, I used in my taco meat, but I'm also going to use it to make this salad. So everything kind of comes together really quickly. Okay, now here is my second kitchen tool that you absolutely must have. And that is one of these choppers. I love it. It just makes chopping up your vegetables, especially those things that you want to dice, so much easier. Ooh, it is a little noisy, but I'm just gonna chop up a little bit of this red onion to go in my little corn and bean salad here. So I'm gonna add that. And then I also have a beautiful avocado. Don't you love it when you open up an avocado and it looks like that? Yes, I do. So I've got about a half of an avocado, but you could put it all in there if you wanted to. I've got it all diced up. So I'm just gonna add that. And the nice thing about this recipe is a lot of people are like, does the avocado stay good? And it does, it absolutely does. Because what we're gonna do is we're gonna squeeze some lime juice over top of it, and that acidity is gonna help the avocado stay nice and green. And I actually find that this salad is even better day number 2, day number 3, just because the avocado kind of gets a little bit more mushy, creates kind of like a little bit of a dressing there. And there's just so many things that you can also do with this little salad. So I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna add about a tablespoon or 1. You can use the juice of 1 lime. I'm definitely gonna be using some salt and pepper. And a little bit of olive oil. Get all my tools over here. But the full recipe will be in the recipe guide. I'm just gonna toss that up, and this is so delicious. Look how colorful and easy that is. Again, no waste with regards to the ingredients that we're using. We can double time them in other areas. So there is a nice, yummy little corn salad that you can eat on the side of your taco night. I actually forgot the most important part of that salad, and that was the cilantro. So I went ahead and added that. Definitely mix that all together. This sucker has such flavor. But I am on to my third and final recipe, and that is our stuffed peppers. I've got my onions and my garlic sauteing in the back. What I love about this recipe is, number 1, you can double it, you can freeze it, you can triple it. You know, that's another great way to cut down on the amount of time it takes to meal prep throughout the week. Or each week, is that anytime you're making any of these recipes, go ahead and double and triple the recipe and freeze them. A couple of recipes that I love to make with the Laura's Lean ground beef. I love to make these mini meatloaf meatballs. We're gonna include that recipe in the PDF for you. But it's super simple. You just roll out, it's these mini meatballs that are kind of like a meatloaf flavor. And I'll make dozens and dozens of them and just keep them in my freezer and pull them out as I need. Another recipe that's really good to make and freeze would be like chilies or stews or something like that. I love to use the 92% with that. Antibiotic-free, hormone-free, 100% vegetarian feed to make my soups and stews. I will make a batch, eat on it for a week, and I'll freeze half of it to grab later. So just some really good tips in terms of spending less time in the kitchen in order to maximize those healthy meals you're putting on the table. So I've got my sauteed onions and garlic here. Oh, I wish you could smell it. It smells so good. And I'm gonna add that last pound of ground beef. Now with this recipe, you could actually just do 2 pounds of ground beef for your pasta and your tacos. And then you could reserve your last pound of ground beef and cook it right here with the onions and garlic. Gives it just a little bit of an extra flavor, but I'm telling you, this stuff is so good. So This is gonna help kind of speed up the process because I'm not gonna have to sit here and stand over this ground beef and allow it to cook because it's already cooked for me. So just mixing that up, and then I'm gonna take about a cup of white rice, brown rice, quinoa, you can use whatever you want, and I'm gonna add that into a big bowl. I'm gonna stir that up, get that all combined together. This dish is a family favorite. They really love it. If you're looking for a lower carb option, you can sub the rice for cauli rice. That works really well. Another great way to add extra fiber, extra vitamins and minerals to the food that you're eating. And then I'm just gonna take 1 can of diced tomatoes. And I'm gonna add that and mix all that up. I'm gonna put this back in the pan and let it cook and simmer for just a little bit while I prep the peppers to stuff. So look at that. I've got some Italian seasoning that I'm gonna add, super easy. About a tablespoon of that. You could also add individual spices like oregano, but I'm just gonna make it super simple there. Yes, this smells amazing. So I'm gonna pour this right back into my pan, and I'm just gonna let that simmer while I prep these peppers. Okay, so super simple. I've got a dish that I'm gonna cook my peppers in, and all you're gonna do, some people like to cut the tops off and stuff like a whole pepper. What I've found that creates kind of a lot of waste. My kids, they're not gonna eat the whole pepper. So I like to cut them in half and make kind of like these pepper boats. And I think it just cuts down on the waste, you know. My kids are more likely to eat the half a pepper than they are to eat the whole pepper. It's a lot. So I'm just gonna cut it directly in half, and then I'm just gonna take a smaller knife and I'm just gonna cut out all those seeds like so and dump those out. I like to get that white part out, that membrane, just because it's a little bitter. So I feel like it tastes a little bit better when you do that. And so I'm just gonna place 4 of these right in this baking dish. If I wanted to freeze them, I would do exactly everything that I'm doing right now, except I would omit adding the cheese, so I'll show you that. And I would just stick them in a freezer safe baggie. If you have a container that you can, you know, do without for a while it's in your freezer, you can do that. But your meat is already cooked, everything's already combined. You'll stuff your peppers, stick them in a freezer safe baggie, so you could make 8 peppers at a time, 4 for now, 4 for later, and makes meal prep so much easier. You can hear this kind of sizzling. Got that mixture in there, that rice, those tomatoes. If your kids don't like kind of whole tomatoes, you can get the crushed tomatoes, you can get the finely diced, you could even kind of like puree them, blend them, and make like more of like a sauce. So I'm just gonna take, let me grab, I'll just use this measuring cup. So I'm just gonna take about almost a cup of this mixture, and I'm gonna place it in these stuffed peppers. So easy. This meal will come together so quick. And here's the thing, I'm doing this on Sunday, okay? This is what I would traditionally do. So I would prep this on Sunday, and you can see that almost nicely fills. It's gonna be a good serving for each person. I would prep this on Sunday, and I would just stick it in my refrigerator, just like this. And then the day that I'm ready to eat them, I'm gonna pull it out, I'm gonna open up my oven, I'm gonna turn my oven on, I'm gonna stick it in there, maybe toss a side salad to go with it, and you are ready to go. Another kitchen hack that I love these glass containers with these lids. They make it so easy to prep. You can see I've got all my prep there. But if I was ready to bake this right now, I would add my shredded cheese on top, some mozzarella. Oh no, this is Monterey cheese. You could omit the cheese if you want to be dairy-free. And then pop it in the oven and bake. And you've got a really quick and easy dinner right there. Look how beautiful that is. But I'm gonna save this, even though I put the cheese on it, not a big deal. I'm gonna save this for another night. So here you go. Less than 30 minutes, I promise. We prepped stuffed peppers. We prepped a corn and bean cilantro lime salad with our leftovers. So that's kind of like a bonus. We prepped our ground beef that we're gonna throw in our pasta sauce later in the week for pasta night. And we prepped our taco meat that we can make taco salads with. We can make quesadillas, we can make burritos, we can make hard shell tacos with. And again, all of this is going to be in your refrigerator, ready to go. That's 3 meals that you don't have to think about for the week to come. So when you're thinking about healthy eating, again, I always say, you know, it does take time and it does take effort. But if you spend maybe 60 minutes once a week to do this type of prep, it will really make getting healthy meals on the table so much easier. I'm gonna be able to get all 3 of these meals on the table probably in less than about 15 or 20 minutes each night. The other benefit is that sometimes we come home from a long days at work and we ask ourselves, what am I gonna cook? What's for dinner? And sometimes we just need to come home and say, this is for dinner. Stuffed peppers are for dinner. Tacos are for dinner. Italian is for dinner. So again, it takes all the guesswork out. And sometimes it's the guesswork that's holding us back. The other thing that's very beneficial about doing this type of prep is the fact that, you know, if you come home from a long days at work, you know, you may have good intentions on Sunday in order to, you know, cook your meals throughout the week. But if you have a really long day, super stressed, you know, kids have multiple sporting events, it's really easy to talk yourself out of cooking. It's a lot easier to go through that drive-through. So when you have a little bit of meal prep ready to go, you're gonna be more likely to go home. You're like, you know what? I've got that, you know, ground beef that I can throw in that marinara sauce and boil up some pasta really quick. It's an incentive to get you home and cooking for your family. So another benefit of taking advantage of that meal prep. And the last benefit is you only blow up your kitchen once a week. Sometimes the worst part about healthy eating is all the mess that you make while you're cooking, chopping, stirring, mixing. And when you do meal prep once a week, you only have a messy kitchen for the most part once a week. So it helps to reduce on the cleaning and that kind of overwhelming feeling that I don't want to cook because I don't want to do the dishes. So it really simplifies it. I really hope that all this information was super helpful. Again, just to reiterate, talking about the 4 things that are going to help you get family-friendly, healthy meals on the table as quick and easy every week are going to be number 1, create a master meal list, something that you can refer to each week to select your meals. Number 2, nail down your core 4. What are those 4 recipes that you can fall back on over and over and over? Number 3, try something new. Once a week, try a new recipe. Maybe it's a hit, maybe it's a miss. If it's a hit, add it to your master meal plan. If it's a miss, don't worry about it. And number 4, consider doing some weekly meal prep. Just once a week, 60 minutes, 1 hour, can really help you save hours in the kitchen to come. So thank you so much. It's been great to be here. I'll be around to answer all of your questions. If you have any questions about Laura's Lean, be sure to check out their virtual booth and their website. They've got a lot of great recipes and products that you will love to check out. My name is Amanda Nybert. I'm a registered dietitian with a passion for simplifying nutrition for health and wellness, and I hope you found this helpful. Thanks, guys.